Okay, this video tutorial looks at the mathematical strand of number, and more specifically, we're going to focus our understanding on scientific notation. Now, what is scientific notation? Scientific notation is essentially a shorthand way of writing very, very big numbers and very, very small numbers. And it involves writing or rewriting certain numbers in the form of a times 10 to the power of b, where your a value your a value is always greater or equal to 1 and less than 10. So it is a single digit that is not a 0. Okay, so it must always be either a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if the original number that you started with before you rewrite it in scientific notation is greater than 10, then your b value will be a positive number. If your original number is less than 1, then your b value will be a negative number. And if your original number is somewhere between 1 and 10, then your b value will be a 0. And we're going to go through some examples of what that might look like. So let's have a look here. Now remember that we are rewriting these numbers in the form of a times 10 to the power of b. Okay. Now, here is some steps to follow in order how to do it. Okay, so you move the decimal point that's existing at the moment, so it is behind the first significant figure or the first digit that's not a 0. Alright, so for example, we're going to move the decimal point so it is now behind the 5, because the 5 is the first significant figure of our first equation. So this is going to become 5. The first number is now your value a. Include any other digits after the decimal point. So in this particular case, it's 5.4. I'm not going to include any zeros, just 5.4. The number of times you moved the decimal point to begin with is your value for b. So this becomes times 10 to the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I moved it 5 times. If you moved the point or the decimal point left, which I did, your b value will be positive. And if you moved the decimal point to the right, your b value will be negative. So the first answer is 5.4 by 10 to the 5. If I'm going to do the second one, I want to move, so at the moment I want to move the decimal point behind the first significant figure. So I've just moved it there. So I now know this is going to be a 3. Okay, I'm going to put my decimal point and the rest of the digits that aren't a 0. I know it's going to be times 10, and I've actually moved it 3 spots to the left, so this is going to be a negative 3. In my question C, it's already behind the 9, and I haven't moved it at all, so it's actually going to be 10 to the power of 0. Now in my last question, okay, we're actually multiplying things here. Now we're going to rewrite this. This is a little bit tricky. We're going to rewrite it with our A values at the front, and we're going to multiply that by our B values in the second. Alright, 8 times 3 gives me 24, and this is going to be multiplied by 10 to the power of 5. It's 10 squared times 10 cubed is 10 to the power of 5. And that answer is my scientific notation. Now, there's only one problem with that answer, is that my A value is not between 1 and 10. In order to do that, I need to make it 2.4, and I need to increase my B value by 1. Okay, because I've essentially moved the decimal point from behind the 4 to in between the 2 and the 4. Okay, so here are some practice questions that I would like you to have a go at. Alright, please feel free to pause the video, have a go at them. When you think you've got them correct, continue the video and we'll go through the answers. Okay, so let's see how you went. Write the following using scientific notation. Well, in the first question, I'm going to move the decimal point till it's behind the 5. So this becomes 5.406 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3, because I moved it 3 spots to the left. In this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I've moved it 7 spots. It's 2.3 by 10 to the 7. Let's make that 10 actually look like a 10. In the next example, I've moved it 4 spots. This becomes 2.13 by 10 to the minus 4 because I've moved it right. In this example, okay, I need to multiply the 3 and the 4. That gives me 12. And now I multiply 10 squared and 10 to the power 4, which is 10 to the power of 6. I can't have 12. Okay, I can't have this number because it's not between 1 or 10. This now becomes 1.2 by 10 to the power of 7. Next question, my last one. Okay, it's going to be very similar, but I've got a 6. My A values are 6 and 2. So 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. And this is going to be multiplied by my B values, which is 10 to the power of 6 divided by 10 to the power of 4, which is 10 to the power of 2.